I sent the wrong message to someone. Just on YouTube. I'm on WhatsApp. Oh my God. That's the problem with WhatsApp. You just like text someone and you're texting someone else the message. Alright, let me just erase the message that I want to erase. Whoops. I sent this wrong too. Hold on a second. Oh. Hold on a second. Okay, it's into the right person. Okay, I think okay. Whoops, sent the wrong message out in my. Shows when you try to do too many things at one time, it doesn't work too well. Okay, that's good. Okay, let's get the guitar. Make sure it's tuned. All right, and then we'll jam some nice song for Srila Prabhupada, for all the Vaishnavas. Let's see what we're going to chant. All right. Jaya Madhava Jai Jai Ram Hey Jaya Jaya Madhava Jai Buddha Taruni Mandala Mai Jai Buddha Taruni Mandala Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Jai Jai Hey Jaya Jaya Madhava Jai Amotaru Radhe Vardhana Vese Alinas Kutavinda Vipine Rati Vardhana Vese Arinas Kutavinda Vipine Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Jai Shasheleke, Lalita Saki Guna Ramita, Vishake, Shamanu Dane Namashachileke, Lalita Saki Guna Ramita, Vishake, Rane Jaya Jaya Mata, Jaya Jaya Madhavataye, Run hey Jaya Jaya Madhavataye, Gokulatharuni Mandala Mahite, Gokulatharuni Mandala Hey, Jaya Jaya Madhavataye, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Prabhupada. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Paravatikacharya also Teta Satashi Shimad His Divine Grace Abhaya Chalanada Bhaktivedanta Goswami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Anantakoti Vaishnav Vrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Shridhoidas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shidwaita Gadadha Shivasati Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Shri Shri Radhakrishna Gopi Govanath Sayam Kunda Radhakunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Vrindavanam Ki Jai Maturanam Ki Jai Jagannath Swami Ki Jai Yamunamaya Ki Jai Shrimati Tulasi Devi Ki Jai Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Gaur Premananda Hari Hari Bol. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories the assembled devotees, all glories the assembled devotees, all glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Namani Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharni Nivishesha Shanyavadi Paschatya Deja Tarani Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. So, okay, let me read the translation. O Radha, all glories unto you, all glories unto the beloved of Madhava, object of worship for all the young girls of Gokula. You dress yourself in such a way as to increase Lord Damodar's love and attachment for you. You are the controller of Vrindavan, the pleasure groves of Lord Hari. You are a new moon arisen from the ocean of Kirtada and Vrishabhanu. You are the friend of Lalita, and your wonderful qualities, friendliness, kindness, and faithfulness to Krishna, endear you to Vishaka. You are an ocean of compassion, and your divine characteristics are described by the four Kumaras, Sadaka, Sanatan, Sananda, and Sanat Kumar. O Radha, please be merciful to me. So, Rupa Goswami Ki Jai. So now we're going to continue reading from the Jaiva Dharma by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So, Om Ganata Vidanda Shah Gananjana Shalakya Chakshur Un Meditam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of my spiritual master, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, who so kindly opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge while I was blinded in the darkness of ignorance. I'm not going to say ignorance, ki jai. Like some devotees, when they chant that song, Jiv Jago, Gaurachandra Bole, Kota Nidra, then they say, Jai Maya, Pisa Chira Kole. Many devotees do that. They Kota Nidra Jai Maya, no, Kota Nidra Yao Maya, not Jai Maya. So, Kota Nidra Yao Maya. Don't do Jai Maya. So anyway, so let's go to the Jaiva Dharma, and we're going to share the screen right now. And of course, this is the new translation. Alrighty, we're ready to go. So this title is about Madhurya Ras, the sweet conjugal bell, this chapter. And we've gone over the other rasas, the other bhavas, the other ratis, and now we get to Madhurya Ras, the pinnacle. So, we started off here, or said that we were going to start off here. Brajanath Gurudev, we've understood the magnificence of Vatsalya Ras. Vatsalya Ras, of course, is the parental affection. Kindly purify and enliven us with a description of the paramount, he's the topmost, of all rasas, Madhurya Ras, the sweet, conjugal, mellow. Okay. Goswami said Madhurya Bhakti Ras has been designated the Mukhya Bhakti Ras. That means the principle of all devotional mellows. The fallen, Mukhya means like the principle or direct. The fallen condition Jiva, as a soul, has taken shelter of the material ras taste. Ooh, it's very bitter. However, actually everything in the material world is bitter. Even the most wonderful things in the mode of goodness are bitter. Yuck. Unless one comes to that realization, anyway, you will not make much spiritual advancement. I hate to say that, Prabhus and Prabhis. However, when he returns to Ishvara, the controller, that's Krishna, and Nitya, Nitya Dharma, eternal religious principles, he naturally embraces material detachment. Yet until he acquires the qualification to engage in Chid Rasa, that means, well, it means transcendental mellow or transcendental taste, he is certainly excluded from the perception of Madhurya Ras, the conjugal taste, the conjugal relationship. Madhurya Ras by nature is most esoteric and rare. Scarcely anyone is found to be an eligible candidate, hence Madhurya Ras must be kept very confidential. Therefore, although Madhurya Ras is a very extensive subject, I will be brief and only describe the salient features. Excuse me. Salient in this context means appropriate, because it's not appropriate to discuss the intimate details too much publicly. And anyone who does it publicly in front of a lot of people, well, Hare Krishna, no comment, don't want to commit offenses. It's not what we do. Okay? It's not what we do. You don't have meetings of the Bhakti, of the Prema Bhakti Club, or the Madhurya Ras Club, or the Gopi Bhava Club. This is cultivated at most 1-to-1, Prabhu. So I'm addressing the fallacies that, or the pitfalls that people fall into. Rajnath says, Gurudev, I'm a follower of the coward voice of all. So I understand that you will consider how much I can hear and understand about Madhurya Ras. Because he's in a different mood. I mean, for example, in this material world, there are sannyasis. I'm a sannyasi, or at least that's my service. I am not supposed to hear about mundane romance. If there is a movie about love, don't tell me about it. I don't want to hear about it because the love of this material world is not appropriate. But anyway, so if one is not a sannyasi and they want to be in love, then that's another thing. So Goswami said the Priya Narma Sakas, that means the friends who are the most dear to Krishna, the closest, the ones who help Krishna. Priya Narma Sakas are the ones who actually help Krishna in his conjugal, they're friends who help Krishna with his conjugal relationships. Not that they're there making the beds or anything. That's up to the Manjari gopis. But they pass messages and things like that. We heard about that before. The Priyanarma Sakas are permitted to participate in the Leelas of Madhurya Rasa, also known as Shringara Rasa, means conjugal rasa, to an extremely restricted degree. They don't bring their mobile phones in and start taking pictures. Fools rush in where angels fear to tread. Keeping that in mind, I will reveal what is appropriate to your eligibility, not more, Prabhu. This is really, really, really important that we should know what our adhikar or eligibility is. And the Guru certainly knows that, or the advanced Vaishnava knows that. But we're very reluctant often to take advice because we think we know better or on a higher platform than we're actually on. Okay. So when we talk about these rasas, the first point of discussion is called the alambana. Now, lambana is the stimulation that is directly Krishna, and probably his devotees too in this case. Let's hear that which Vibhav. Okay, let's talk about Vibhav. A Vibhav. I know I'm repeating myself from past classes, but a Vibhav is the stimulation for further emotions. And the Vibhav, in every single case, can be broken down into alambana and udipana. Just telling you what our terms are, defining our terms. Alambana means the direct object of your love and things related, and the people related with the direct object. So the direct object is called the Vishaya. The people related with the direct object are called the Ashraya. Also, if you're the one who is loving the object, who is Krishna, you're called the Ashraya too. All right. So, let's go on. So, Rajana says, what are the alambana of this ras? Basically, we should say alambanas, because we're making an anglicized plural. That's the Sanskrit term. But anyway. So, the alambanas of the vibhava, the stimulation, the types of stimulation, is, Goswami says, Shri Krishna is the Vishaya alambana of this ras. That means he is the object which stimulates this ras directly. He is the Nagara. That means the epitome. It's been defined here. Epitome of unparalleled beauty, charm, amorous pastimes. The gopis of Braj are the Ashraya Alambana. So they are also a direct stimulation for love of Krishna. When one sees the gopis, okay? So one sees Krishna, that directly stimulates you. But the gopis are Ashraya because they're repositories of the love in Madhurya or Shringara Ras. Amongst all the gopis, Srimati Radharani is the crest jewel. The sound of Krishna's Murali flute, this would be the Deepana. Yeah, it's the primary Deepana. That means things related with the Alambanas, but not directly the Alambanas in this ras. Things to stimulate. Sidelong glances and enigmatic smiles are some of the Anubhavas in Madhurya Ras. And of course, Anubhava again means those things that follow the stimulation, which are voluntary. So if one gets stimulated, and they're in the conjugal ras, by seeing Krishna, seeing his devotees, or hearing his flute, then you may execute a sidelong glance and questioning smiles, enigmatic smiles, and those are the Anubhavas who follow. The entire range, there's some of them, actually many more Anubhavas, other than that, dancing too is one of them. The entire range of, now we get to the Sattvika Bhavas. Bhava means emotion. Sattvika means when the spiritual energy comes in contact with your pranas in your body. That's basically what happens. The side effect of the Sattva Gun, the Vishuddha Sattva Gun, which means the pure spiritual quality. And so these side effects would manifest in the body, manifest in their fullness in Madhurya, the conjugal relationship, and except for alasha, laziness, and ogriya, rudeness and volatility, all the other Vyabhachari Bhavas are also displayed in this ras. So in other words, all the Sattvika Bhavas are displayed in this relationship. And all the Vyabhachari Bhavas, 33 of them, except for laziness, rudeness, and volatility, are displayed in this ras. Laziness can be a symptom of ecstasy. But don't tell us that when you are lazy, that is a symptom of ecstasy. One devotee was saying to me that when someone is procrastinating, that's a symptom of ecstasy. Not in conjugal ras. Not any of the ras, procrastination. Maybe procrastination of material duties, but not spiritual duties. Goswami said when Madhurya Rati means the relationship of conjugal love, Madhurya Rati, is nurtured by the natural Madhurya Ras, the taste of conjugal love. Where's the full sentence? Okay. I didn't complete the full sentence. When Madhurya Rati is nurtured by the natural vibhava, skip that. Natural stimulation, loving impetus of the heart, it blossoms into Madhurya Rasa, the taste. So the relationship develops a taste. That's obviously true. This divine love for Shri Radha and Shri Krishna finds no vicheda, obstruction, being without dependence upon bhavas, emotions, that are swajatiya, compatible, and being undiminished by bhavas that are vijatiya, incompatible. Swajatiya makes the sense of possessiveness. So there's no obstruction no matter what other emotions are occurring. That's the real point. Or, maybe a bhava that's vijatiya would be wanting to protect Krishna, which is incompatible in one sense. How many types of madhurya ras are there? Conjugal relationship are there? This is interesting. Goswami said, Vipralamba, love and separation, and Sambhoga, love and union, are the two types of madhurya ras. This is interesting. What is Vipralamba, separation? Goswami said, Vipralamba, separation, has many subdivisions such as Purva Rag, Mana, and Pravasa. Okay. Rajanath asks, what is Purva? The feelings and emotions that lovers experience before meeting each other are called Purva Rag. What are Mana and Pravasa? Mana is well known as the hurt pride and pique of the lover. Actually, okay, let's give an example. One night, Krishna didn't show up when Srimati Radharani was waiting, and she got angry. And she saw all sorts of marks on his body, and then that was it. Forget it, Krishna. And then she got really angry, and even threatened Krishna. And pravas means to be reft of the lover's presence. Okay, that's vipralamba, the two types of vipralamba. Vrajana said, what is sambhoga? Enjoyment. Enjoyment, complete enjoyment is basically what the word means. But Goswami answers it in the context of conjugal ras. He says, sambhoga is the inexplicable exaltation that arises as the lover and beloved meet. I would now abstain from revealing more about Madhurya Ras. Those elevated souls who are eligible to engage in the esoteric science of Madhurya Bhakti Ras may refer to the book Sri Ujjvala Nilamani of Srila Rupa Goswami. So, all this is from Rupa Goswami. All this information that Bhaktivinoda Thakur is giving us is from Srila Rupa Goswami's Nectar Devotion, not Nectar Devotion, but Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Prabhupada's Nectar Devotion is the summary study of the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Not detailed study, a summary study. Prabhupada called it himself a summary study. So Brajanath asked, kindly explain briefly the different varieties of Gona Bhakta, Bhakti Ras, subordinate devotional mellow. So Gona means the indirect rasas. The 7 of them that we talked about before, remember? We have 5 direct ones and 7 indirect. So Goswami says, Hasya, amusement. That means laughter. Adbhuta, oh my God. Shock, wonder, astonishment. Vira, chivalry, also means heroism. That's where my name came from. Karuna, pity, also means compassion. Rodra, anger. Phew. Bhayanaka, terror or fear. And vibhatsa, horror. What does that mean? Ghastliness. Ooh, like rivers of blood. So, vira. That's interesting. Heroism, chivalry, etc. And Vibatsahara are the 7 subordinate rasas. When they gain prominence and intensity to the extent of usurping the positions of the Mukti Ras. Now, Mukti Ras means your primary eternal vas, rati, bhava. You have Mukhya Ras, Mukhya Rati, Mukhya Bhava, which are all connected. Bhava means emotion, Mukhya Ras means taste, Mukhya Rati means relationship. Slightly different, but they're all connected to each other. So we have one primary Mukhya Ras, that means Shanta, peaceful adoration, Dasha, servitude, Sakya, friendship, Vatsalya, which you heard before in the previous chapter, parental, and 5, conjugal. So when these 7 indirect usurp, they become more powerful temporarily. They don't take over permanently. Mukhya Rasa, the principal taste. They assert themselves as individual rasas. So it appears that, hey, what's your eternal relationship? It is humor! No. Like if you look at Madhu Mangal, here's an example. Madhu Mangal is a famous friend of Krishna who is always joking. And he loves ladus. So you can say, what is his relationship with Krishna? You could say, it's humor. So when he's really humorous, it just overpowers his friendship with Krishna. He's still a friend of Krishna and is part of the friendship, but it becomes so prominent that, he could be any humorist. Not any humorist, but it's so prominent. All you think of at that point is just laughter, humor. At the stage when they are able to express themselves independently, they become sthai bhava. They become constitutional, temporarily, not permanently. Got it? Just like, even I experience when something is very funny and I'm absorbed in humor, then all sorts of other relationships just become secondary. But that's temporary. Generally, I'm not always when I have relationships. The relationships are there. But they're put to the side when there's something extremely humorous and I'm rolling on the ground in laughter. I'm sure we've all experienced that. And when nurtured by the inherent vibhava, the stimulation, they are converted to full-fledged rasas temporarily. Temporarily. Just like, okay. Just like, let's say, okay, see, in the mature world, I was just going on chapel walks in the morning in Sacramento. And as I was going on japa walks, then I would tell people who had dogs that you have a really nice dog, just to see what the response was. It was a little type of investigation, and also, everybody's nice. It wasn't a lie. So, because generally people would say, thank you, like I had said, you are beautiful, or something like that. Intelligent, they said, thank me like it was them. I actually told the devotees later that things that we're attached to and identify as ours, if someone praises them, we feel favorable towards the person who praises them. And, for example, if you have a car, your attacher says, what a nice car. But if someone says, what a nice toothbrush you have, doesn't do anything for me. Just buy another one. Cars are a different thing. People in America identify with their cars. It's part of their constitutional nature. It's their constitutional nature. All right. So let's say, I was walking along And then my relationship with the people was basically compassion. I know it's an indirect rasa, but I'm not talking about spiritual rasas now. But when I made the joke, then it actually turned into humor, became the permanent, not permanent, but the prominent, ras. Actually, there are only 5 mukhya rasas, Shanta, Dasha, Sakya, Vatsalya, and Madhurya. They're the only 5 foundational rasas. And usually these 7 gona rasas, that means indirect rasas, secondary rasas, generally fall within the category of vyavachari bhava. That means they're emotion. Generally they're emotions. Like laughter is an emotion, right? Fear is an emotion. Heroism is an emotion. Anger is an emotion. Don't you think anger is an emotion? Try it out. Brajanath says, while studying rasa vichara, that means the science of rasa, within the Alankara Shastra, the Alankara means dramatic or poetic books, Shastra, I came across the 7 gona rasas. That's these 7 were just previously mentioned, like humor, fear, chivalry, etc. I would really like to know the interrelationship between the mukhya rasas, the foundational tastes of relationships, and these gona rasas, the secondary rasas which flavor the taste. I mean, oftentimes, I give the example when someone's interested in a relationship between the two. I give the example in terms of food. Like, if you have a particular type of vegetables, I'm a vegetarian, in case you didn't know, but let's say you have broccoli. It has a particular taste. That's its mukhya ras. The mukhya ras of broccoli is whatever it is. It's the foundational, original, main taste. It's the taste. It's not only the main, it's all the tastes of broccoli by itself. So then you add some secondary rasas to it, like spices. You may add heat, chili peppers to broccoli if you are really on that level of Krishna consciousness. Or you may add, what else? Would you add sugar? Ew. That's incompatible. That's rasa bas. Sugar, broccoli. I know some devotees who do that. They put sugar in everything. Or those in Fiji, they put salt in everything, except for the sweets. So either something is full of salt or full of sugar. Then that overpowers the original rasa, and it's actually, in the material world, it's disgusting. Because the purpose of spicing is to bring out the original rasa. And the purpose of these indirect rasas in the spiritual world is bring out the foundational rasa, one of the 5. Goswami said, I will enumerate, that means elaborate, the different combinations of compatible and incompatible rasas. This is quite interesting. This is called rasa bas, when you start mixing these things. I'm going to try to give examples for each one of these things. Shanta ras, that means God. Please, God, you are the great personality of God, and please be merciful to me. Is amicable, that means friendly to dasha. So if one's in Shanta ras, it's compatible to sometimes serve. It's compatible to vivatsa. So I wish there was the definitions here everywhere. Vivatsa, I believe, is that ghastliness. Yeah, ghastliness, that's right. Yeah, because if you're in Shanta ras, here's an example of that. Let's say I'm in Shanta ras and detached from the material world, and I'll just say, ooh, whenever I think of material enjoyment, I simply want to Prabhupada did it. He said spite, but anyway. So, vibhatsa means ghastliness. So that's compatible with Shanta Ras. Okay? It's really important. Shanta Ras is also compatible to servitude. It's also compatible with ghastliness, also compatible with being heroic and dedication to religious performances. And it's also compatible with shock. So you don't find anything incompatible, because if it was incompatible, then it would be like salt in the sweet rice. The sweet rice, there's certain things that are good, like pistachios, but not salt. And especially in the Charnamrita, you don't want to put salt, as some devotee did. So on the other hand, Adbhuta, shock. Amazing shock. Adbhuta is friendly to servitude, Sakya, friendship, Vatsalya, parental, and Madhurya ras, conjugal. So it's interesting. So in all these, they can be Adbhuta, oh, amazing. Krishna's flute, amazing. That's the gopis. Mother Yashoda. Krishna knocked down the twin Arjuna trees, Adbhuta. The friends, Sakya, Krishna breathed in the fire. Dasha, servants, they also could see Krishna doing amazing things on the head of the Kaliya serpent. The enemies of Shanta Ras, in other words, the incompatibilities, if someone's in Shanta Ras, are conjugal Ras, Yuddha. Yuddha means war, heroism in war. Rodra, anger. Ooh. Because if one is Shanta Ras, he's Shanti. Shanti means peaceful. None of this loving stuff or fear or anger. Bhayanika means fear. Or Rodra or being hero. You know, just cool it. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. But a devotee in any of the higher rasas is not interested in Shanti. Prabhupada said that. We are not interested in Shanti. We are interested in other things, in pleasing Krishna. Like Prabhupada said, one devotee went to Prabhupada and he said, Prabhupada, since, with so much anxiety in doing my service for you, I have trouble hearing my rounds. And what did Prabhupada say? He said, me too. Of course, Prabhupada never had trouble. But Prabhupada was trying to show us that to be in anxiety, you rascal, if you're trying to escape from anxiety, a wascal. I know it's rascal. You are rascal. If you're trying to escape, because the residents of Vrindavan are always anxiety. Yashoda Maya is an anxiety about Krishna, the higher rasas. The gopis are anxiety. Of course, the gopis are anxiety. What's happening with Krishna in Dwarka, Mathura? What's Krishna doing with that other girl? Mother Yashoda is having anxiety, that demon. And the coward boys are in anxiety. Krishna's dancing on the head. Can you imagine the anxiety of dancing on the head? Krishna's dancing on the heads, or Krishna's being captured before he went dancing on the heads of the Kaliya serpent. How much anxiety the residents of Vrindavan had? So that anxiety is purifying. You're thinking, Om Shanti. All right, if you want to be in Shanta Ras, that's fine. But I'm not going to see you when you're in the spiritual world. Hasta la vista, Prabhu. I'll be in a different neighborhood. And I'm not telling you what neighborhood. But yeah, I'm not going to see. If you want Shanti, Om Shanti Shanti, you picked the wrong spiritual guide. You know, actually, anxiety for pleasing Krishna. I mean, obviously not debilitating anxiety. Okay, so this is interesting, these combinations. I love explaining the compatibilities or incompatibilities. Dasha rasa means the servitude taste is congenial with vibhatsa, disgust or ghastliness. Shanta, being peaceful. But someone in Dasharas is not peaceful all the time. It's compatible. Sometimes he's peaceful because everything is going well. He's with Krishna. Krishna's playing the flute, but other times it's not. Dharma Vira, like you see coward boys. Krishna's coward boys are very heroic. They're having, what is it, wrestling matches, and the person who wins, I guess, to be carried on the back of the person in the team who loses. And, you know, so many stories like that. In Krishna book, it's like that. So, yeah, the coward boys, they aren't going just Om Shanti. You look at any, the servants are in anxiety how to please Krishna. The coward boys are in anxiety about Krishna. And also they're having this heroic, competitive spirit with each other and with Krishna. That's Dharma Vira. And Dana Viraras, Dana means charity, heroic, charitable person. It's like Kshatriya mood. So, opponents, so now we're talking about Dasharas. Okay, if you're in Dasharas, I accept you. Its opponents of Dasharas are Madhurya. You know, conjugal relationship is completely, doesn't mix with Dasharas or servitude relationship. Yuddha Vira means a war. There's Dharma Vira, but not Yuddha Vira. And Rodra Ras, anger. You know, obviously the coward boys are not angry with Krishna. This is so darn interesting. This is called Rasa Abhash, or Rasa Abhash, which means the combination of two different rasas, some of which are compatible, some of which are uncompatible. Uncompatible is salt in the sweet rice. Compatible would be little sugar in the sweet rice or honey in the sweet rice. That's compatible. Because there's different tastes, they mix together, and some of them are tasty, and some of them are not. Just like one time, I was in Germany, and someone mixed certain things together, and they made them for me, offered it to Krishna, and they asked, how does it taste? And I said, it was quite challenging. And when I said that, they said, what does that mean? And their husband came and said, I want to taste this too, see what challenging means. So he took one little bit and went, bleh, spit it out. That's what challenging means. I have to be a good guest. I can't say that was horrible. So that was, he was exhibiting Rodra Ras. I was exhibiting compassion. The rasa of compassion. Anyway, okay. So let's start with Sakya Ras tomorrow. Let me just mark the place where we are, Prabhus. Okay, now we will take your questions. Another exciting class. Let's let you unmute yourselves. Okay, you are free to unmute yourselves.
Hare Krishna Gurudev, please accept my humble obeisances.
Send my blessings. How are you?
Good Prabhuji, Gurudev, how are you?
Fine. So what questions
Um,
you
Gurudev, this was a very interesting class, especially about the anxiety rush. And it
uh,
was really nice to hear that story about Prabhupada, because I think a lot of us are anxious to do our best service.
yes.
Um, I had I had a question about the Shanti Ras. How does it mix with tolerance? Because um, we need to be we need to be calm when something is triggering us, or there's something that we don't like, so we need to be
Yeah.
calm, or we need to be peaceful. But uh, like you said, Shanti Ras is is not something that's acceptable. How do
Well,
we mix it?
one who is in it is acceptable for some people, but I'm not going to be in that neighborhood. But anyway, so Shantaras Shantaras is very compatible with peacefulness and freedom from anxiety and tolerance. Very compatible with tolerance, extremely. Actually, all the rasas are compatible with tolerance in the sense that actually, in all the rasas, they tolerate for a different reason. In Shantaras, they just want the pain to go away. In the higher rasas, they accept the pain and the anxiety. This is actually a good point. And they see, like Krishna has sent it, and they take it as an impetus to increase their service and deepen their connection with Krishna. And what was the other thing I was going to? Yeah, impetus. Oh, yeah, and they go on serving. Tate nukampam shusha mikshana bunjanivatma kritam vibhakam ridvak vapurvir vidadam namaste jiveta yo mukti pradesa daya, like that famous verse in the Bhagavatam. The one who tolerates and goes on serving Krishna with his body, mind, and words actually becomes a fit recipient for pure devotional service. I mean, imagine what Prabhupada had to tolerate. I mean, when we hear what these great devotees, heroes tolerate, it's actually inspiring, and they keep on serving. Whereas Shanta, their one of their motivations is Shanti. Like in the higher rasas, a devotee is not motivated by Shanti. He's motivated by giving Krishna and Guru pleasure. So that's a difference. All right?
Thank you, Gurudev. Hare Krishna.
Okay. So no more Shanti for you, Prabhus. So, Brenda, you have a question.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. I have a question regarding anxiety with respect to chanting. Is that thinking about your devotional service while chanting and thinking about what is pending and how to improve it? Is that taken as a unattentive chanting, or no? It is
Well,
not bad.
if you're planning your devotional service while you're chanting, yeah, that's probably inattentive chanting. But if you're praying to Krishna to do a better job while chanting, that's not inattentive devotional service.
Okay,
You know,
very much.
timeline. Okay.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. So, Chris, you're unmuted. You have a question? I guess you unmuted yourself by accident. Anybody else have a question? Anybody else have a question? You could type in the text window.
Hare Krishna Gurudev.
Haribala Bhai Chaitanya. So, what's up?
Please accept my respectful obeisances. Just the question about ghastliness, the secondary rasa. So just want to understand, I think I understand the primary rasas and how you can have that relationship with Krishna. When you go into the secondary rasas, humor and, chivalry, to an extent I can get it. But ghastliness, what's an example of that? How does a devotee associate with Krishna or relish that mellow, Gurudev? What's an example of that?
Yeah, well, let's talk about Shanta Ras. Ghastliness can be experienced when you actually think about some of your past nasty activities, and you just, like Prabhupada said, you want to spit at it, or I'm disgusted. Ghastliness also means disgust, being disgusted. Like Sripad Yamunacharya has this famous quote, Nava Nava Ras, since I've been tasting newer enjoyment, whenever I think of material sex enjoyment, I simply want to spit. And the interesting story is when Prabhupada spat like that, he was telling his story. He actually spat, and boom. So that's an example in Dasha. And in some of the other rasas, of course, Maturya Rasa, you don't have vibhatsa or ghastliness being manifested or disgust being manifested. But some of them, like you take Parashuram, who killed all the Kshatriyas so many times, created rivers of blood. That's pretty ghastly. Or Lord Nrsingadev.
Yeah.
You take that, Prahlad Maharaj is a servant of the Lord, so that's Dasha. And so here, in front of Prahlad Maharaj, you also have vibhatsa, ghastliness. You also have the Lord's anger, too. You have the Lord's compassion, Audarya. So you have different things being manifest in Dasharas. And, in Sakyaras also, you have different things like that. So you could think of different examples. I mean, it's
Yeah.
pretty common sense if you think about when not only ghastliness, disgust can occur in different relationships, even within this world, and you can understand it by comparing or thinking about relationships in this world, which are reflections of the relationships in the spiritual world.
But
Okay?
it's not like it's giving Krishna pleasure then, is it? Like, I mean, the example of Nrsingadev and Prahlad Maharaj, and yes, it was a ghastly atmosphere, but it wasn't the secondary rasas is not then directly related to giving pleasure to Krishna.
Yeah. Krishna
So how?
takes a lot of pleasure when he takes the intestines out of Hiranyakashipu.
Yeah.
That's pretty ghastly. And Krishna was in ecstasy because he was protecting, there's the compassion.
Yeah.
There's the ghastliness. Krishna was ghastliness by itself, no, but ghastliness connected with the compassion.
Yeah. And so in that case, is it Prahlad Maharaj or Hiranyakashipu experiencing that rasa?
Yeah. Yeah, they're both experiencing.
They both are. Okay.
Both are. Yeah, Prahlad Maharaj, I mean, it's not that he's in love with ghastliness, but it's part of seeing Krishna's protection. It's connected with Krishna's protection.
Yeah.
But Krishna's damn angry. He wants to tear this person to shreds. That's ghastliness.
Hmm.
When you want to tear someone to shreds, let's say someone attacks your family, your daughter, or your wife or something, you want to tear them to shreds. So you're experiencing ghastliness too, in that parental mood. Right?
Right. Okay. Yep.
Even though you don't do it,
Yeah.
your whole thought about someone is let me just wipe them out.
Yeah.
So that's connected with love. I mean, it's natural when it's just you just want to destroy someone who interferes with or threatens someone who you love. Right?
Got it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Gurudev.
Thank you. Good question. Okay, we'll see everybody tomorrow. Time to